What's up everyone, Blade here, and welcome back to another video of 7 Deadly Sins Origins. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going over who to prioritize when re-rolling, especially if you want to have a fun time on this game. If you're interested in the video, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I decided to do something a little bit different this time, and instead of actually wasting you guys' time and slowly going over the characters, I put them on the screen here. So on the screen you can see a various amount of characters being Jericho, Meliodas, Deanne, Manny, King, and Elaine. These characters are all units that you particularly do want to re-roll for, and I'm going to try to break it down in a way that is interesting while also telling you exactly why you want to re-roll for them. So we're going to immediately start with the girl Jericho here today, seeing that she is one of the more powerful units. Now Jericho herself is a very interesting character, and actually I want to use this website for showing off the characters themselves. It'll be easier, but Jericho herself is a very interesting character here. She's one of the few units that honestly all three of her weapons isn't bad. You're just going to use her dual swords for the most part, mainly because she succeeds a lot in the crit rate type of area while also still doing a ton of back attacks. She's one of the few DPSs that can absolutely dog walk a lot of the content inside the game. And the reason why I recommend her as a good reroll character is just because of that. Getting through a lot of the PvE content pretty easily, especially the early game, will be pretty easy for you with this character. And she actually does have part of her team nearly completed here. The only downside is it isn't fully completed, seeing we don't have that many ice characters, so you are going to have a little bit of a problem. But there are always other substitute units that could be very, very well. Now, another good part about this character, why I really recommend her, is because she can really build up burst pretty darn easily, and that's going to come up with at least one of her moves called Weapon Enchantment, where she gets a frozen saber for 15 seconds. This helps out your crit chance, and it also insists on helping your burst gauge. Seeing that this is going to be a probable thing here, and burst is a major thing inside this game, obviously being able to have this at your disposal is always a really good thing to do, and it makes a lot of your content pretty darn easy to go on through. Though the character herself does have a couple cons, which is the fact that she is fairly squishy, and you're probably not going to be able to do much about that until later in the game. But a good part about her team here is, although we don't have the most ice characters, it can be supplemented with Meliodas, which I know a lot of us are going to be going for anyways. So if you're able to get her and Meliodas together, you technically got a makeshift healer, which is with I think Meliodas' dual swords themselves, where he can actually act as a healer based on his lifesteal. So that could make up for some of your problems when it does come down to at least healing with Jericho herself. And she also can walk on water, so I mean, like, it's pretty darn cool, to be honest. It's a good way of just traversing the world, especially if you need to get across a lake or something. Probably doesn't last all too long, but it's also cool. Now, another reason why I do recommend her as well is depending on the people that you can have in her team. One of those few people not only is Meliodas, but is a good character called Manny. Now, Manny is a really good buffer as well. She actually does do a lot for Jericho. So if you did have the chance to get those three units together, I mean, it'd be awesome. Though the team is very expensive, so keep that in mind, especially if you are going to be going for Jericho. But she's insanely worth it. She actually does a ton of goddamn damage here, and I'm hoping I can get her as well. But that's one of the first characters I say to reroll for. When it comes down to the second character, obviously it's the man himself, being Meliodas, and this isn't ranked in order or anything like that, you guys. I'm just going to be explaining it, right? The second character is going to be Meliodas. Now, Meliodas himself is a very crazy nuker. You can use all three of his weapons. He's actually worth it on all of them. But for the one that we're going to be talking about the most today, it's going to be his long sword, or his one-handed sword. Now, this sword itself is crazy. First of all, Meliodas can walk on walls. He's able to jump from walls. So he does have a lot of adventure skill type deals. But he is able to pretty much put on this darkness stack on you when he has his darkness burst activated, and then remove elemental aspects as well as remove those stacks for some crazy damage outburst. Now, his real damage outburst is going to be coming from the move called Blazing Cross, which is, I found out, a little bit of a snippet to what's it called, Grand Cross itself. So that is pretty dang cool to see that they're doing a little bit of a I guess you could say like a little treat or something just hidden into the game there, which is freaking awesome to see. But the character himself does a lot of damage with this one weapon, and even the other ones, although he does a ton of damage with those too, they're really good, and this is the one that's probably the best if you want to just straight up nuke something. Now, the thing about Meliodas is he is a very easy character to fit into most teams because darkness itself kind of affects every last elemental burst, and it doesn't affect it negatively. It actually affects it very positively, and it doesn't ruin your team get-ups. So you can easily slap this man to Jericho's team. You can slap this man to any other team that just wants a little bit of something else with a little bit of damage, and it will work. It won't hurt your like actual burst mode or anything like that. It'll be very well for you. But if you wanted to center a team around Meliodas, I got a good thing to tell you guys. Meliodas' entire team is built of SRs. So let's just put him right here, right? So if you have Meliodas, we end up looking at least the man Hendrickson, and we're going to end up looking at the man Bug. Both of these characters are actually insanely worth having at his side because both of them in some way, some form, some fashion are going to be assisting his darkness stacks. For example, if we check out Hendrickson, and it should be on his dark weapon, which should be his lance here, he is able to increase all allies heroes darkness damage by 5 or 15%, well 5% for 15 seconds, and when activating an enemy's darkness burst, it of course is going to help you out with that. As well as with this character here, he's able to grant berserk to people, which is increasing our darkness damage. So that's already a direct buff to just Meliodas. And if we check out Bug as well, who has something similar, you're really going to be using the book as well with Bug. So like look around, I think the dual swords are usable, but pretty positive the book is the best one, seeing that it also increased darkness damage to cursed enemies, which you will be able to curse the enemy easily with his kit, and just increase your damage overall on darkness damage. So all of this stuff is like a direct thing for Meliodas, and it makes it even better for him to deal even higher damage. So on the off chance that you don't have the SSRs from Meliodas' team, don't worry. He has a really good SR team that you can end up using and taking a good advantage over. Now, the next character that I do want to go ahead and talk about here is going to be Deanne. Deanne is probably the best unit when it comes down to having an official team, right? So there's a lot of things that have been changed around here, or a lot of characters that have been missing, but Deanne has like the most probable team. You can either use her with King, you can use her with King and Elaine, you can swap one of them out. If you don't have one of them, you can pop in Tiore, in which there are so many different characters that Deanne genuinely has in her arsenal. Whether it's just her being able to be ultra tanky, whether it's her just dealing out damage, she can do it all, and it's kind of important for people to know this, especially with how this game does perform. The game does want you to use your elements or attributes to your advantage here, but it's just like a little bit of everything. And the good part about Deanne is all three of her freaking weapons deal a ton of damage as well. I've seen people use the gauntlets, I've seen people use the axe, of course, the axe being her main one. And then I saw some people trying out the nunchucks, but not too much here. But the gauntlets and axe definitely I can speak for, and they deal a ton of damage no matter what you want to do. Even if you don't have like the supporters with her, including the SR supporters, she still does deal a lot of damage itself here. And she's going to be assisting you a lot when it comes down to taking down enemies with just no problem at all. Obviously, she does have her multi-hits that are pretty decent once you get the dupes into her. But she has a lovely move set that's pretty darn good. She can also decrease her cooldown by 50% whenever attacking an enemy affected by breaker. So I mean, like, this is a cool thing. She's going to be able to at least do this pretty often. She's going to be able to obviously pretty much take down anything in her way, which is a good thing to actually see. And I think this is probably one of the best characters to reroll for. If you can get her, it wouldn't be a bad idea, at least idea itself. So those are the 3 DPSs. Going on into our supporters. Now, our supporter wise, I'm just going to mention them because they are supporters, so they can go into most teams themselves here. Manny is going to be pretty much your go-to when it comes down to like an ice related team here. Manny is going to be insanely helpful. Now, you could of course use her for attacking, you could do all that good stuff, but the one that we usually would end up seeing is going to be the staff one here itself, because it does at least affect a little bit here as well for a couple characters, which is going to be very interesting. The character herself is a pretty darn good unit, to be honest. She does help as a huge buffer And you can see this quite often, even with the dual swords, which I'm pretty sure these are the ones that you're going to use for Jericho for specific. If you are attacking enemies that are using like a chilled event or like a chilled aspect, she does a damage dealt increase, which is very interesting to see how that does work. And every attack that's going to be happening later down the line is going to deal a lot more damage, which is always great to see a character that's really boosting that ice side of things, or really boosting Jericho's team. She's going to be a buffer that I think a lot of you guys are going to enjoy quite often. And if you wanted to pair her up with Jericho, you would be able to do so. Then talking about King and Elaine, I've like yapped about these two for multiple times in a row here. All I gotta say with them two guys is they are just the primary buff examples. Currently for King, we don't ever use the light and physical side for him, or holy and physical, and that's mainly just because the man himself, we just don't have a use for it just yet. Like, of course, it's probably not too bad. He probably does have some places to grow it there, but there's not really a reason to look at that when we have the staff form, which is just as good for an Earth team. The staff form itself is actually insanely busted, especially when paired with Deanne here, and it's probably gonna be your main go-to when it does come down to a lot of teams itself. Whether it's coming down to increasing your attack, defense shatter, he's able to do all of this no matter what, and pretty much make that team insanely overpowered. And his sister is no other joke as well when it does come down to this. Elaine herself is more in this role as well, where you're usually going to be using, if I can remember correctly, it is the book. No, it was the staff. There it is. No, it's the Earth one here. So the staff itself, if you can look at what's going down immediately, she's able to generate a what's called a shield. And I think no, I was right. Yeah, it was the book. See, I'm over here going crazy for a second, you guys, but she's able to generate a shield, and which grants her heroes barriers, which is going to be insanely worth it because this actually does overlap and this does defend you. So the Guardian's Blossom is going to be really, really good to actually have on you here. And she's also able to petrify the enemy, which is insanely worth it as well. Now, she does increase her physical and earth damage taken by 50%, or at least increase the enemy's earth damage and physical damage taken if you can't petrify them. Plus, that time that they're knocked down in that petrification state can get you a lot of time on at least hitting the enemy a ton here, which is always a great thing to actually go ahead and look at to see a character really be able to do this. And on the off chance, if you did want to swap her around, she could very well heal. She could very well help you out in different aspects. So, I mean, she's one of those flexible characters that are genuinely pretty darn good. Although we're using both King and her for Earth related teams, they have a lot of future perspectives with the other elements that they do have, making them a decent character to have if you had to re-roll. Now, we went over all the characters. I'm straight up putting it like this though. If you are trying to start the game off right, try to re-roll for a DPS. We already are probably going to be pulling for Meliodas. If you can re-roll for him and get him, awesome. If you can just re-roll, get one of the two and Meliodas, awesome. That will work out for you. But keep in mind, you only want to invest into one of the DPSs for your team early in. Investing into too many might use way too many materials, so, you know, keep that in mind. I'll be having a do not make these mistakes video up probably tomorrow, especially once we get our hands on the game, because I want to be able to talk to you guys perfectly fine once, of course, I get my hands on the game myself. But with this all out, at least all out there here, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please slap that like button on your forehead, consider subscribing, and we're going to go ahead and have a fun time tonight. See you guys on the stream, and peace out.